Good afternoon and welcome to Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Believe it or not, but we're in a new year and we have some exciting new developments as the year unfolds. We've had a brief hiatus when we had a winter break during the school recess, and unfortunately I also had a brief visit to the hospital, but I'm better. And I'm glad to be here today with our guest, Andrew Giangreco, who is from Rhode Island, and he's got a very interesting breed that we want to learn about. Welcome.
Thanks for having us, Brian.
Tell us about your breed. What is it? Could you pronounce this properly for us?
Yes, this is a Cane Corso. It's not Cane Corso, it's Cane Corso.
Cane Corso.
Yes.
Where was the breed developed?
The breed predates the Greek and Roman times, but if you look at that time period, they were used as military aids. They were used as war dogs. They were paraded through the Colosseum. After that, they had various uses throughout Italy, which is mostly where they're traditionally known to have come from. They were used as farm dogs, protection dogs, all-around guardian breed dogs.
Very interesting. And his name is Viking.
This is Viking, yes.
How old is Viking?
Viking's about 18 months old.
And tell us how you got interested in the breed.
I first got interested in the breed by seeing him in a book. I hadn't had much experience with large breed dogs before, and I knew it was something that I wanted to get into. So saw a picture of one, did a little bit of homework, and at the time there weren't many breeders around, there weren't many places to learn. So did a little bit of homework, did some research. I found a breeder that was close to where I was living at the time, and I got one of the dogs. It was nowhere near what I expected. I thought it was going to be a lot easier than it was, but I learned very quickly that if you put the time and the training into the dogs, that you're rewarded greatly.
Very interesting. What have you done with Viking?
Well, Viking and I have started on some obedience work. We've also worked with some basic show handling. I've had the breed for about 11 years now, but I'm new to showing and new to handling, so this is a dog that I've been practicing with and getting into that sport with.
Very, very interesting. Tell us about the breed.
Well, as I said, the breed has had various uses throughout time. Now they have a number of different uses, everything from tracking to therapy work to protection work. Dogs have a number of different things that they can do if you train them the right way. Different breeders have different types of dogs. Some of them are meant more for showing. Some of them have lines that are specifically meant to do work. So if you're looking for one of these dogs, you should know what type you're looking for, specifically the type of things you're going to do with the dog once you have it. So if you plan on showing the dog, some breeders specifically specialize in that. Sometimes people will have dogs that are meant more for protection work or more for working on a farm or more for hunting if that's what your desire is with the animal.
Very, very interesting. How can one find a Cane Corso?
Well, that's a good question, Brian. There's a number of different places that you could find one, but finding the right one and finding...
That's what I meant. How does one find the right one?
Well, you need to do homework on where your dog's coming from. You need to make sure that where you're getting the dog from has a breeder that's taken the time to breed the correct dog for the correct reasons. Now with social media, it makes it a lot easier to find people, reach out to them, look at pictures and videos of the animals that they have, find people in the network that you can talk to, and find out if a particular dog is going to be right for you. This breed isn't right for everyone. If it's a good fit, you'll have the best dog you've ever had in your life. But there's a number of things you need to do in order to have success with this dog. So if you're expecting just to get a dog and not do anything with it and just have a dog sit around, the dog very quickly is going to show you that they're in charge. This dog doesn't really believe in social equality. This dog believes in a hierarchy, and they need to know who the alpha is. So if you maintain a positive relationship with your dog, but letting them know who's in charge, you're going to have a wonderful relationship with that dog because they're going to want to please you, they're going to want to work, they're going to want to do things that keep you happy. If you don't do that, that dog's going to be in charge of your life, that dog's going to show you what the rules are, and you're going to have problems with the animal. So one of the ways
and
that
the dogs eventually will end up in a shelter.
Or worse.
Or worse.
one of the ways that you can avoid that is when you get a dog very early on, socialize it, which means taking it and putting it in different situations. So from very early on, when I have my puppies, I take them out and I bring them to places where they're going to meet other people, where they're going to see other dogs, know how to act around other dogs, and in general just desensitize them to noises and sounds, so that way when they're out, they know how to act properly and they have good manners. Training is also another large part of that. We do obedience work every single day. So playtime is structured. Whenever they're doing something on a leash, I try and make it a structured activity, so that way it's positive reinforcement when they're training and they look at it as something that they look forward to.
How much does one of these dogs cost?
That's a really expensive question, Brian. If you're going to quantify it in terms of money, it's never ending.
Of course.
and that's one of the things that I'll recommend. If you're trying to get a breed that doesn't cost very much, or you're trying to cut corners, I wouldn't recommend getting one of these. I've seen some folks try and buy a dog that's the cheapest one they could find, or try and find a dog that, for whatever reason, they believe to be an affordable dog or a really cheap dog, and they end up paying for it down the road in heartache because their dog's not healthy, or they end up having problems with the dog, and then they have to put a lot of money into it from vet expenses. So, if you get a dog from a reputable breeder that's taken the time to health test the dogs, you're going to spend a lot less on veterinary care down the road. But, don't make money the reason that you're shopping out a dog. You should be prepared to do whatever the dog needs. These dogs do require special food. They require special training. They require special things that, you just may not be used to putting into just an everyday dog, which is another reason why this breed isn't for everybody. You do have to do a number of things to make sure that they're happy, and make sure that they're healthy, and make sure that they're successful throughout their lives by having a good foundation.
What about their longevity?
Right now you're looking at about 9 to 11 years with the breed. Kind of standard for this type of dog, but it can fluctuate a little bit in either direction.
He looks like a very happy dog.
He is. This is a great dog. He's got a great temperament. First title that we got was a Canine Good Citizen title. Then we got an advanced title on that, which just shows that he's good in different situations and knows how to act around people, dogs, and when he's on a leash.
This is a breed that is cropped, correct?
Yes, this breed does have a tail dock and an ear crop as part of the standard. It's not a necessity, but it is a tradition with the breed.
What colors do they come in?
They come in a number of colors that are accepted. His color is black brindle. You can see that's what the gold pattern is on him.
This is a very Viking, and he's a good eater, I see.
He is. He's a good eater. This breed, they mature up until they're about 2.5, 3 years old. He's about 18 months now, so he's still growing. He's still getting bigger. But his training is going very, very well. I put him in a number of different situations where he gets to learn, gets to train. This dog hasn't let me down. But it's because I got him from a good breeder.
Now, you also go to dog shows.
Yes, that's something new that I've gotten into with this dog in particular. He's had other dogs, there are dogs in his pedigree that have done well in shows, so one of the reasons that I got him was because I wanted to get into that and take up that hobby. I recently joined the Rhode Island Kennel Club, and we have a show coming up this April.
And we are very happy to have you as a new member.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that very much.
And where have you done... Now, you also participate in AKC shows, correct?
This is going to be my first year participating in those.
What other registries have you participated in?
There's a couple that I've participated in, getting my feet wet. I've had some help, learned from some good people handling, and this year I'm going to be starting off with my first show at our show in Rhode Island.
And you've gone to other registries, though, and
yes, I have.
He's won some awards.
Yep.
Viking.
Yes. Yeah.
Won some awards.
Yeah, he did well. One of the other registries we were in, the ABKC, he got a champion title.
Very, very good.
Yep.
Get some ribbons, I take it.
Yeah, we're starting to collect those.
Very, very good. Talk about your work with the Rhode Island Kennel Club. You are a new member.
Yep, it's just started off. I'm seeing right away how I can help the club grow, get some new members involved with the club. I'm going to help them create an online presence so that way people can find our shows a little bit easier. One of the things that they've asked me to help with is making sure that people are at the shows and there's more people involved, so that way people can meet dogs, meet new breeds, which is a great way for people to get involved with a dog. If, for example, like if people wanted to meet the Cane Corso, going to a dog show would be a good place to do that. You could go and you could talk to people that own the breed, you could talk to people that breed these dogs, you could get around them, you could learn, because you don't want to just buy one of these dogs because you saw a picture of it and thought it was cute. You know, they're wonderful when they're puppies, they're really cute when they're puppies, but very quickly they turn into large dogs. So if you can get around people that own these dogs, people that specialize in them, you'll be able to ask them questions, you'll be able to find out if it's the right breed for you. One of the things that I recommend if you're going to get a dog from somebody is find somebody that's going to answer every question you have. Not just today, not just tomorrow, but a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the whole way. The whole time you have that dog, you want to be able to call them and ask them questions.
And stick with it.
And stick with it. Yep, train your dog. It never stops. You know, people always ask me, you know, how much time do you spend training? It never stops. Every time I have my dog on a leash, every time I take my dog for a walk, we incorporate some sort of training into our regimen. That way my dog is always focused. That way my dog's not making his own decisions. He's doing what I tell him to do, which keeps him from getting in trouble and keeps both of us focused.
Can you talk about the grooming?
The grooming? Well, you definitely want to keep their nails trimmed. That's something that I definitely see people not doing with the breed, and it's something that I've learned, especially now that I've gotten into handling the dogs. I've been able to learn from some people that have taught me. If you keep their nails nice and tight, you're not going to have as many foot problems down the road. People ask if they shed. They do shed a couple times a year. Their coat changes a little bit as the seasons change. They have a thick outer coat and a tight undercoat. If you keep up on the brushing, you're not going to have too much shedding. Another question people ask me a lot with this breed is, do they drool a lot? Better watch out when they come out of the water bowl. I usually have a towel already because they're going to get you if you don't. But overall,
They're like Newfies and other breeds like that.
well, just when they come out of the water bowl, you have to watch out. They'll spray you. But overall, this breed doesn't have a wet mouth that you have to watch out for.
Very, very good. So what else can you tell us about this fascinating breed? I had never seen one until I met you a couple of months ago.
It's a breed that's picking up more popularity. It's had various uses throughout its time, and it almost went away for a while. And a group of people in about the 80s decided to recreate the breed almost and bring it back. So it's been a work in progress getting the dog to where it is today. And overall, the dog it's a wonderful dog if it's the right dog for you. As I said, it's not a breed for everybody, and before somebody gets one of these dogs, they need to evaluate whether or not they have the time, the resources, and the energy to put into raising one of these dogs, because it's a lifetime commitment to one of these animals. You can't just train it for a couple months and expect to have immediate success by just stopping. You know, you need to continuously train that dog. Also, can't just send this dog off to a trainer and expect the dog to come back and be what you want it to be. This dog is very smart. This dog wants to work for its owner. So you bonding with that dog, training that dog's going to want to work for you and please you, which is why if you're going to consider this breed, you really have to be committed to the training. You have to be committed to making sure that that dog knows that you are the person that he has to listen to.
Are they best as a single dog, or should they be in pairs? Or
Again, that's going to depend on the owner. It's going to depend on the dog. It's going to depend on what you have
male or
time
female?
for. That also goes into play as well. If you're going to have more than one of these dogs, you're really going to have to establish that you are in control of the pack Otherwise, one of those dogs is going to decide who's in control of the pack. They do well if you socialize them, especially from an early age. You have to socialize them the correct way. I've introduced a few dogs slowly. That seems to work out well. You don't want to put dogs with each other right away. You need to do it slowly and decide if it's going to work. But overall, these dogs are versatile. If you do put them into a situation where they're the only dog, they'll do well. But again, if you socialize them into a pack, they'll also do well in that situation.
You have a book here. Talk about this book. This book sounds like a fascinating read.
It is. It's a good book, especially if you want to learn more about what the dog should look like, where the dogs come from. Any questions anybody has on the technical specifications of the dog, that's the book to read. Written by some people that helped create this breed, helped keep it what it is today. So all the questions that are technical, that would be a great resource for somebody.
And where would they be able to find this book?
I found that book on the internet.
On the internet.
Yep.
Will there be several of these at the Rhode Island Kennel Club show in April?
I sure hope so. I just started to help promote the club, so I hope other people that are in my network and that have the same breed will come out. I do believe we're going to have a working class for the show, so it'll be nice to see some competition.
Yeah, we are really working hard. Excuse me. Working hard to boost the entries and really turn things around and promote the Rhode Island Kennel Club, which is now and it has been one of the oldest clubs in existence throughout the country.
Is that so?
And like many other clubs, entries have fallen off and things have dwindled. But we're trying to develop a resurgence and get people back to where they should be, and get people introduced in dogs again.
That would be nice, and that was really how I got some good knowledge, was by going to dog shows and asking people who knew about the breed and people who just had experience. It's a great place to just go and talk to people and find out questions that you may have, find out things that you may be wondering.
You know, I have been a member of various clubs in the area for almost 40 years. And in the last decade or so, many kennel clubs have moved out of the area. We used to have kennel clubs everywhere, and they've moved out of the area. And most of them have relocated to the Expo Center in Springfield. And people don't want to travel anymore. So we've lost a lot of people who used to be regular dog show fans who wanted that knowledge. And people people are struggling for that information. And oftentimes I find that they do not get the right information.
That's true. It's tough finding good information. A lot of people will just rely on social media, or they'll not take the time to research and get good information. That's why it's important that people stick with it, stick to their breeds, and put good information out there so people can continue to learn.
And what you're doing is a wonderful thing.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that.
Does he do any tricks?
Yeah, he'll make all the food disappear real fast. We work on mostly obedience work right now. We haven't started doing any tricks just yet.
Will he be able to, are you going to train him in obedience to get a degree? Or does he do rally or any other activities?
You know, that's something that we'll probably get into. As I said,
it's a very versatile, from what I've read, it's a very, very versatile breed.
It is. You know, you can do a lot with these dogs. They're very easily trained. They're very, very smart. It really just, if you put the time into it, they'll do just about anything you ask.
Very, very nice. The breed is very popular in Europe, isn't it?
They did. I'm sorry. They did originate over there, so there has still been a large population of the dogs over there.
In Italy.
In Italy, and throughout Europe.
And it's developing a resurgence in this country.
Yes, it's really started to get popular in this country over the last 10 years or so. You've seen a lot more of them.
You're a good boy. Viking. Good manners in the house. How are they living in the house?
Well, I train my dogs to have good manners. So these dogs, they don't jump up on the table when I'm eating. They don't try and beg for food. But again, that's an ongoing thing. So I'm always training them.
So they need to be trained.
They do need to be trained. They're not just going to come out of the box knowing what to do. You're going to have to show them, and they're going to want to challenge you, especially as they get older and especially as they start to mature and develop. They're going to question who's in charge. They're going to want to recreate the rules sometimes, and that's why training is such an integral part of success with these dogs, because you always need to refocus them. You always need to make sure that they're doing what you want them to do, because you can see here he'll very quickly do what you don't want him to do or go off in another direction if you're not telling him how you want him to act. And that comes from training the dog, because sometimes you're going to be in a position where you can't speak to the dog. You need to be able to show him with hand signals. Sometimes you will be able to speak to him and you're not going to be able to show him hand signals. And you need to be able to work with your dog in different situations and communicate with them different ways.
Have you worked with any other breeds?
Have you
owned any other breeds?
I have owned a few other breeds, and I've worked with a few other breeds. I enjoy all dogs. I really, really love dogs. But this is my favorite breed to work with. They train well. I communicate well with them, and in general, it's my favorite. From the moment that I saw these dogs, I knew that it was something that I was interested in and something that I wanted to learn more about. They have a very imposing look to them and a very strong presence. That was something that immediately attracted to them.
How much does Viking weigh?
Right now he's just over 110 pounds.
So is this the largest?
No, as I said, he's about 18 months now, and he's still filling out closer to 130 pounds maybe when he's finished growing, but we'll see.
So he is a big boy.
He's a big growing boy, yes.
And he's fun.
He is. He's a lot of fun. He loves to play, loves to be around other dogs.
Requires adequate care.
I would say a lot of care. It's not a dog that you're just going to
daily brushing.
Daily brushing. I could probably brush my dogs more. I spend a lot of time sweeping my house, but training is what's most important. Spending time with the dog is what's important. Making sure that the dog knows that you're coming home. Make sure the dog knows.
Andrew, do you do the grooming? All the grooming?
I do. It's another part of bonding with the dog, another part of connecting with the dog. My dog knows when I want him to lay down and get a nail trim or when he needs to hop in the tub and get a bath.
Daily exercise, obviously.
A few times a day.
Take them out for a good walk, a long walk?
Yeah, they enjoy all different types of activities. This guy really likes to hike. We're fortunate. We have some cool terrain over by our house, so he likes to go hiking, he likes to go in the water, he likes to do all kinds of things. He's a very active breed.
So this is not a breed for a couch potato.
No, if you're looking for a breed that you can just sit around and not do much with, I wouldn't recommend the Cane Corso. If you're willing to put time into training, if you're willing to put time into showing that dog that you're in charge in a positive way, it could be a good breed for you. There's a number of things that you need to consider when you're going to bring a Cane Corso into your life. You also need to consider what else you have going on at home and how others are going to respond to the dogs and how others are going to help train the dogs and a number of different things.
What about age for people? Is this not a good breed for an elderly person?
I wouldn't recommend it for an elderly person that has limited mobility or that doesn't have the energy or the time or the strength to handle one of these dogs. As well as you train them, at the end of the day, they're still dogs. You do still need a good amount of strength to be able to hold on to them on a leash. You do need to be able to communicate with them through that leash, and if you are not in the right physical form to do that, you could have some problems. So I'm not saying...
this may not be a good breed for someone with mobility issues or things like that.
You know, there's different scenarios. If somebody got a dog that was a therapy dog and needed it in that sense, it could be the right dog for them. But if you're getting a dog that you need to train or you need to socialize or put obedience work into from a young age, you want to make sure that you can keep up with that dog physically, because these dogs are very athletic and they do have quite a bit of energy. And if you don't burn that energy off, that energy is going to show itself in other ways, and you might have problems if you don't burn that energy off the right way.
So this might be a very ideal breed for a family.
It's a great family dog. The dogs are very, very smart. They're indifferent towards strangers and other dogs. They have a very natural protective instinct, and they understand a family element. They understand a family dynamic. So if you have kids, if you properly train them and socialize them together, you're going to have
older
success.
children.
Even younger children as well.
Really?
Yes, I've seen families that have young kids and Corso that have grown up together, and things have gone quite well. Again, it was because people put the time into socializing and training the dogs and the kids and teaching them how to appropriately handle the dog, specifically a large breed dog.
Very good. And while I've got a few minutes, I really would like to talk too about the Rhode Island Kennel Club.
Sure.
You are a new member.
New member, yes. Just got voted onto the club recently.
And what contributions are you going to be making to the club?
As I was mentioning earlier, I'm going to help get the club noticed online, help them get noticed on social media, and try and bring some fresh air to the club, bring some new ideas, hopefully get some new members as well.
We need new members and we need younger members to grow. That's a very important thing.
It is. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to bring some more people along. Other people will see that some good opportunities and there's some cool things going on.
Well, I guess we are being told it's time to wrap up. Welcome to Andrew and to his beautiful dog, and we welcome you, and thanks for sharing half an hour with us today, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.